What is your POV? And so those four blue dots represent the points of view with regard to mass media. And the main distinction here is that the mainstream and the alternatives left and right, or the extremes on the edges of the political horseshoe, they're all contained within the box. And the box, which I have described here, they're enclosed by the walls, this wall of beliefs and presuppositions. And this has to do with the distinction between beliefs and knowledge. Their beliefs are not reality tested. That's the main difference. And those who have tested these beliefs find that the evidence comes up a little short, and they end up finding a hole in the wall, and they likely get out, depending. I mean, a lot of people still are stuck within because they're part of these subsets. And so you have the big box, but within the box, you have two subsets. This is Trutherville on the right. This is Woketown on the left. Both Woketown and Trutherville, the extremes, even though they're alternative to the mainstream, they're still contained within the same walls. The distinction between these 3 points of view, which are pretty much the same, the main distinction is they do not include history bending, news bending, special effects in the news, metascript, and then the programming, predictive, concurrent, and reinforcing. So the MSM minus perspective looks at the same content that is interpreted along the party lines. I mean, it's definitely just perfectly bifurcated. But we look at the same content, the same information, but we also include all of this. And all of this does not exist in this fictional universe. So our content, our views come from outside the Truman Show. So when I ask what your point of view is, well, if your point of view on media doesn't include the long-term control over history, control over time, long-term management of future fake events, and that's what we're talking about. They're faking events that have been pretty much on a schedule somewhere. And the other element too has to do with the timeline. So when I put metascript here, and this is going to break down into the concept of the two timelines. So you have two timelines. You have the real one, and then you have the scripted events that are scheduled to occur. And those two timelines converge through the lens of media. The real and the fake blend. So this whole area is subject to confusion. Everything they get is confused. It's a fusion of real and fake. Our perspective, which recognizes a distinction between the real and the superimposed, are outside the hyper reality, which means that we are unconfused. So again, the default position is to be mainstream programmed, even if you're in a subset. You can't say you're deprogrammed. You can't say you're not brainwashed if your perspective on media is not inclusive of these items: the management of history, the curation of history, and the faking of media as standard operating procedure. And the truth of it is, the conspiracy theorists aren't there. They're still part of the establishment media. This whole box is establishment. This is pro on every issue. This is anti. This is the pro-establishment, anti-establishment, but it's anti-establishment in name only. It's all controlled opposition. And if the positions are contained within politics, and this is the political horseshoe, then they're definitely part of the world stage. And the world stage is a model, it's an interpretation. But the model is not the territory. And nobody seems to notice because they're so engaged in it. Anyway, we're going to be live shortly. I'm working on a few of these. This one's going to be fine-tuned. But the question is, what's your point of view? Can you state your point of view, unbiased, objectively speaking? Because if your perspective on any major issue goes along with the Chat GPT version or the approved conspiracy theory versions. Like if you're following Candace Owens, for example, uh, your point of view is still mainstream. You're just on the right side of the box. And if your point of view is not inclusive of any of this, you're still in the box. It's actually that simple. And a lot of people might not want to hear that. The majority of truthers don't want to hear it. You tell them nobody died at that event and they want to kill you for it. Like they get mad. Like, don't say nobody died. It's like, well, it's that bloody guardrail thing. These individuals don't want to let go of the psychological warfare narratives. They don't want to let go of the atrocity propaganda, and that's on them. If they want to run around with fake blood on their hands, let them. If they want to be crisis actors, it's not our problem. Yeah, my dead people, my dead kids, as we said after Maui, but my dead kids. It's like, you guys don't really care. It's just the current thing. You won't care tomorrow. Something will happen, something in the celebrity world. But anyway, this is just the beginning. I'm working on a number of these graphics and these infographics to just explain here. If we ask people objectively speaking, if your point of view isn't including any of these, then, where would you place yourself? And there's a rigidity. It's predictable. These are actually pretty rigid, even though it looks like internally diverse subsets and people are making up their own minds. No, it's actually pretty rigid. And when we start listing the pro and the anti issues, you'll see that if somebody's anti in one thing, they're going to be anti in all the things. There's absolutely no independent thinking in the box when it comes to media. Despite the appearance of a diversity of ideas, it's uniform. And the uniformity is their presuppositions and their lack of awareness, lack of situational awareness. So the box contains the misinformed, and then outside the box would be the informed. It's really just a recognition of the two timelines and the real purpose to media fakery and the systemic nature of it. And the people in Trutherville underestimate the significance of the fakery. They don't even, they're stuck in the whole forest of fakery thing where they find a few fake trees. They don't know the whole forest is fake. And if you don't have the wide view, you're not going to see the model. You're not going to step out of the Truman Show. Anyway, we're going to be live on the main channel in just a few moments. Thank you for subscribing.